How you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular.
Yeah.
You got something you want to say?
You got something?
Next episode of One Gotta Stays, one action hero tournament. And the riddle for next week, look, we're heading into the final bracket, so we're going to roll with the punches. Chain these references together, and I hope you like them. But if by chance you don't be mean about it. Because remember, manners make us men and women out of all of us. And it takes a lot of work for me to put these together. It's like a mental equivalent of running and running and running and running all the way to a destination, then turning it around and coming right back like I never left. And I'm kind of sensitive. So don't injure my ego. Make me feel like my arm is in a cast and I gotta break out of that thing. Or like you hurt my dog and threw me down a very, 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 very long set of stairs. With that, for Paige, for Lon, for Kobe, and for Marisol. What up, family? It's your boy Amaru and a cute dog over there. We are back with another episode of One Gotta Stays, one action hero tournament. I didn't say geek this time. Lovely. But you know what it is? We've been going through decade after decade of our most favorite action heroes to try to figure out which one is the best of them all. Last week, we went through the 2000s where the bride, Miss Beatrix Kiddo, beat the likes of Jason Bourne and Brian Mills. And the panel this week is going through some of our favorite 2010s action heroes. Don't ask why somewhere in the 2010s and not back in the 90s. We do what we want here. But the choices we have are John Wick, Ethan Hunt, Luke Hobbs, Eggsy, Imperator Furiosa, and Ip Man. But that's not the main reason you're here. This is the main reason you're here. We got a great crew today. Starting over, nobody cares about her because she's here every week. What is the name of the dog? That's what we want to know.
This is Harley Quinn, guys.
Oh. So Harley Quinn put in the list. Paige has no idea. By Paige, you can leave her on. That's what we wanted to see. No, I'm just kidding. Paige, always by my side. You're just damn near every episode. How are you doing today?
You know, so well. I got a little day off from not moving to do this fun show. And I feel like today I may not have the hottest takes. Well, maybe I will. But I feel like everyone will be on the same page with me. So, and my dog.
We will see. We will see. I'm legit the only person who actually knows at the moment. It's always fun to just know that behind the scenes. But we'll see how that works. Next to you, I have not seen this person in a long time, and the excitement I have for her to be on screen with me right now is just palpable. The momager, the one from Chicago herself, Miss Kate Mulligan. Hi.
I'm feeling when Paige is like, I'm not going to have hot takes, it's because she knows I'm a raging idiot. I'm going to have a lot of hot takes. I'll be like, you guys, the best one's that Ip Man. You guys are all going to be like, what? No.
You never know. You never know. Let's not disrespect it, man. At least not just yet. But it's okay. Thank you for coming.
I don't even know.
It is Ip Man. But below her, it is the OG of OGs of One Gotta Stay. If I have like an R&B one or a hood classic one, he is the token white man. He is my guy, Mr. Ryan O'Regan. Ryan, good to have you back, sir.
Yes, Amaru, my, how you've grown. You're such a big man now. But yes,
how
it's
you
good
feeling
to
though?
Finally be here. First one of 2023, possibly the only one of 2023, considering all these tournaments you go through, man. My God. But oh, it's so good to be here. So good to be in front of so many faces that I've recognized that are much more important than I. So I really feel good. Even you, Galley Ghost, you're more important than I am too. I'm a pauper, here to happy to be here.
Well, thank you for being back. Next to you, he has given me one of my favorite nicknames of all time. I love Mike Alstott when he was with the Falcons. He calls me A-Train. I call him Moose, but everybody calls him Moose. One Mr. Moose, Haas. Moose, how you doing with whatever construction you got going on behind you?
I'm good. I'm at a live construction site right now as we're doing this show. But I committed like 3 weeks ago to Amaru, and then 2 weeks ago, and then a week ago, and each week I kept having to put off. And so finally, I'm like, you know what? Regardless of wherever I am, I've got to commit to the A train. I got to get on. I got to discuss some Ethan Hunt. I'm glad to be here. Look at this panel. What a bunch of beautiful people. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. And last but not least, the man who, besides my own intro, just has my favorite intro with the double hey. I don't want to say it because it's his, but every time Settle the Score is on, I say it with him. I love it. It's Mr. Matt Knost. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. I stole that from Krusty the Clown, and it's not mine, and it was inadvertent, and people just started saying it back to us, so we just made it the intro for the show. But I'm good. How you been?
I have been very good. Anybody who is in San Diego the rest of the week, I shall be there for Comic-Con my very first time. So I'm very happy about that. But we're happy to have all of you here with me. So,
Pick the perfect time to go, buddy.
Yes, it was perfect, wasn't it? Wasn't it perfect? It's going to be a great time. But you know what? Let's just get to it. Let's just get into it. As I said, we are here for the 2010s. So let's just see the people's hot takes if they have them. Hey, Matt, we're starting with you, sir. Who is your number 4?
My number 4. So
yes, your number 4.
Well, we're gonna do our 5 and 6 as throwaways later.
Yes. So quick recap: 5 and 6 later. We're gonna do what we normally do. Start with the number 4.
There's only 5 on this list. One for me was off. That was easy. That was my number 6. It's gonna be on other people's. It's probably gonna be in their top 2 or 3, and I think you're all wrong, but that's fine. That's fine. At number 4, I've got Eggsy from the Kingsman.
Okay.
All right.
Comes out with a stellar movie. None of us knew who Taron was, and creates a character that even though the second film was, I don't blame him or that character for the failings of the movie itself. But it's good enough off the first one that I'm down to see a third and potentially a fourth, depending on how good the third one turns out. Just like there's only been, one really good Matrix movie. If you don't want to count Animatrix, I would still watch another one if they came out and said, hey, we're going to make another one, because the first one was good enough to where I can suspend disbelief and forget the others came before it. But that character was so compelling in that first movie that I'm willing to continue traveling on and finding more stories for him to exist in. So that's who I chose at number 4.
Yeah, the Kingsman isn't bad. I mean, I guess I kind of like number 2. Kingsman, I don't remember a shit from, and he's not even in this film. But does anybody else have Eggsy as their number 4 besides me?
Quality.
Kate, why is Eggsy your number 4?
Because everything that's not number 1 doesn't matter. So I just arbitrarily put it there.
Ooh.
Hot take. No, I mean, honestly, I'm like, it's not, for me, if one's got to stay, it's not going to be Eggsy. That's all I know. And it's not I don't think it's the worst. So 4, it just very comfortably went in the middle for me, because I'm sort of in the middle of the road about it.
Did you just say comfortably wet in the middle?
Okay, well.
Is that a phrase saying that I've never heard in my 44 years of life?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
If it's what I said, it was a slip of the tongue.
Okay,
That's what she said.
You know what?
Being wet in the middle is a slip of the tongue.
Yep, comfortably wet. I like it. We're going to keep that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. New phrase.
But not a hot take that anything under number 1 doesn't really matter, because that is the show. It really is just one stays. But Eggsy was also my number 4.
Yeah.
It literally is like nowhere near the top 3, but nowhere near as bad. I'm not going to say bad, but nowhere near for me the bottom 2. I'll get into more of that a little later because I feel bad. But yeah, Eggsy's there. I like Taron as a person. I really want him to blow up a little bit more. That King Arthur thing just kind of went down. The Rocket Man was very helpful.
Yes.
But I like Eggsy back in a very good movie.
Yeah.
So I'm with it. I'm with it. Eggsy is number 4. So you know what? Let's just go over to Moose. How about you, sir? Moose, who is your number 4?
My number 4, and it's only because she's in one movie, and I want more of her, but I put Furiosa at number 4. I think that she's an awesome, amazing, badass character, but I want more from that character than the one movie. I mean, it's Mad Max's movie. When the next Furiosa movie comes out, it's going to be outstanding. She's going to be number 1. But as far as like what you have some of these other guys who are like repeat hitters in the 2010s, right? And just have consistent like action-packed movie. She's got one, and it's just for lack of, I don't know, call it sample serving, that I want more. I love, like, absolutely love. Like, I would have absolutely chosen. I know, Andres. But yeah, I mean, I want more of Furiosa. We only got one. That puts her just kind of middle of the pack for me. Her next movie absolutely puts her at the top of this list for sure.
I would say we're getting a whole prequel with her. So obviously she was supposed to come out of Mad Max Fury Road. I feel like that was.
I agree. You just kind of had. Yeah, you just kind of had Tom Hardy. He was just kind of the grunting, Max the whole time.
He was strapped to a car.
The movie. I agree 100%.
Don't you talk about my boyfriend that way. Don't you dare talk about my boyfriend.
Hey, listen, I love a good Tom Hardy flick too, but she was the outstanding point of that movie.
I would say I feel like Fury is short for Furiosa because that was her movie. That was not Mad Max's movie at all. Like at all.
I never thought of that, but it definitely is.
Does anybody else have
road?
Does anybody else have Furiosa at number 4? Oh,
yes. Again, it goes back to what Moose is saying. You do only have like the one film, and it was such a large film that it really had to encompass a lot of time for everybody, not just Furiosa, not just Max, but everybody that was introduced in that film. So you really didn't get as much action with Furiosa as you probably could have gotten if it was just like her and Max. You had to have the time spread out, and what she did was great. Hell, don't start with me, Ghost. Now she did whatever she could with one arm, with a whole trail of assisted women that she has to keep safe. All right, there was a lot of burden on her, and I can appreciate what you have to do in that circumstance. Maybe you don't get to kill as many people, you don't get to run as many people off the road, but the intimidation factor and just the overall gall that she puts out to everybody, I dig it. I'm fully on for a prequel of her, even if it's not going to be Charlize Theron. It's going to be who they have, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes.
I can only hope that she brings the same kind of energy to the character. But that's the thing. We're talking about the character, not so much the actor. So would I have loved more? Yes. Am I content with what we got? Sure. But is it enough to get to number 1? No.
But is it? But it's definitely more to get number 4 of the. Okay, well,
you guys are smoking some crazy tobacco.
Considering who I have for the rest, I mean, there's
I guess
huge amount to work with.
Yeah, it is. Well, Paige, since you say they're smoking, who do you have at your number 4? You're the last one. So who's the person that you have?
Well, I have the person that I thought their name was something different. I thought it was the IP man, but it's Ip Man, I guess. So
oh, I'm so sorry.
There's that.
He's the Dell tech support that you call.
Yeah, Paige, by the way, I thought the same thing, but I had the presence of mind to put it 6th. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Amaru, I know we're not supposed to jump there.
And my thing is...
Yes, that's sprawling action adventure series that happens on the internet.
Yes, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't seen those movies, but Donnie Yen is a fucking badass. And I've seen those clips of him in the movie, so that's why I put him where he is, because that man can, like, literally break your arm from like a mile away, just doing a little karate like flick, and somehow the wind will break your arm from the travel. It's just, man's a badass. And so it's pretty much for Donnie Yen, and I know it's the character, so he deserves to be at least crack the top 4.
Yeah, you gotta. I guess you have to respect Donnie. You kind of do. But you were the last one. We're number 4. So just a quick recap before we move on to our 3s. Me, Kate, and Matt all have Eggsy at number 4. Paige has whatever his name is according to her. IP Man, Ip Man, Donnie Yen at number 4. Orion and Moose have pissed off every woman in the chat on the screen with their number 4. But we're gonna just keep it going. Ryan, who do you have at your number 3?
Well, I will probably have to go ahead and follow up with Paige. My number 3 was Ip Man, or Intellectual Property Man.
Can we
That
be
sounds like
serious?
a bad-
Are the film's really called Ip Man?
Yes, 1, 2,
Ip
and
Man.
3. Yes.
Why would they not be called IP Man? I feel like
Because
it's like the shittiest name for anyone. Is that I don't even know.
It was Paige. It was a real person That was a real person these movies are on. So please don't talk about his
I may
name.
have pissed off the women, but at least I didn't piss off a whole country. I'm just saying.
Oh,
just a gender, just half the Earth's
Yes.
population.
That's
fine.
People that watch movies.
Just a show of hands, how many people have seen Ip Man?
Hands it down.
I've seen 1 and 2. I still have
I've
yet to
seen
see
1.
3 and 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
okay.
seen
I've
one.
seen.
So the top row up here is where the delinquents get it. Okay.
Well, at least me and you, Kate. So we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as having him as number 3, I love Donnie Yen for this. Like he is definitely somebody who went ahead and made this character his own. The only reason I wouldn't have him at the top is simply because for a lot of his fights, it's very one-on-one, and it's like, you come after me, or I'll come after you, and I'll just stand here and I'll deflect and I'll throw you around. It's like there's a certain fighting element to that, yes, but as far as like an action element, it's very stagnant in that sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's not a lot of action when there's a lot of talk, and then the fighting commences. So just get into it.
And remind me why that's better than Furiosa.
Yeah.
Because Furiosa was just driving most of the time.
Okay.
You've only seen what, 1, maybe 2 of them?
And besides,
Hey, Spades, you haven't seen any.
Furiosa had one movie. Furiosa had one movie. Donnie Yen had at least 3 in the decade. All right.
Yeah. Well. Remember, you can consider all of their films, even if it wasn't this decade. We just put them here anyway. But you know what? It's okay. Let's just get off of Donnie for a while. We've been beating up on him. Kate. Hi, Kate. Who's your
Wait, no one else had Donnie?
No one else had Donnie. No one else had Ip Man at number 3.
I'm about to be skewered, and I know I'm about to be skewered, but I have Ethan Hunt as my 3. I know. Here's why. I'm an idiot. Okay, that's the jump off. Hey, I'm an idiot. This is what I'll tell you. I love Tom Cruise in an action movie. Nobody does it like him. He is the star of of a generation. There's no two ways about it. I just feel like the story. I don't know. There's something about the people I have above that I find more compelling storyline wise than Ethan Hunt. But is he a badass? Is he one of the ultimate badasses of all time? Absolutely. So that's why I put that there. Go ahead. Let me taste your wrath.
I'm not even gonna
I think 2 other people are more badass than Ethan Hunt.
I'm not saying he's not a badass. I'm just saying as far as like
character. Okay.
Yeah, just like character wise, whole character like you'll see who I have as like number 2. I just feel like there's a more like Ethan Hunt never had a dog murder. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, but the man is
he had a lot of other
like
people murdered who were friends of his, who were close.
True.
A dog is such a wild reason to go off. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk.
We'll talk John Wick. I'm just saying.
First of all, he replaced that dog real quick. So let's not focus on the dog too much.
Damn.
Ethan Hunt is he's definitely top 3 for me. I have him as 3.
I'm not even going to put up the front. Nobody else has ended up at number 3. Not even. The man has been going for decades.
I know.
And he's getting better.
I know. I hear it.
Decade.
I hear it.
50 years old and is in better shape than I will ever be in my entire life. So,
I listen.
Here's the only reason I might go to Scientology.
Let's not do that. Let's not even go that way. Not do that one. No.
Is this live? You might want to retract that.
They'll find you.
Yeah.
They will find you. They're watching. They're always watching. Zenu's got his eyes on you, pal.
Like an email.
Well, if I ain't going in for any tests, you'll know. But
oh no. But okay, I guess Ethan Hunt is at 3 somehow.
It doesn't have to be your 3. It's just my 3.
That is true. That is absolutely true. But Moose, what about you? Who is your 3?
I put Luke Hobbs down for number 3. Look, I absolutely do not like the Fast and the Furious franchise, but when The Rock is in it, it does elevate those movies to at least from like not fun to fun. And I know, the cars in space, but look, I don't have that like shut off my brain and just watch these explosion after explosion, car ride after car ride. And I only watched the whole like Fast and Furious saga this year because I lost a bet to JTE. And so I had to go back and watch all of them, including the new one in theater.
And you were an inner geekdom. You are very
Oh, you poor bastard.
It was not on IG, so we don't have to
It was, yeah, thank
it was not there
it
for us.
wasn't.
Yeah.
So like, this is coming from like just watching like 10 Fast and Furious movies, 11 if you count Hobbs and Shaw this year. And what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does in the Fast and the Furious is he really does kind of breathe new life into kind of a deflated franchise at this point in time. Anytime he's on screen, he just has the charisma, the energy. It's always palpable. Yeah, what he's given to say is sometimes just the worst, you know, and we need to call in the cavalry. And he's like, "Woman, I am the cavalry." But only Dwayne Johnson could pull off a line like that. And you still go, yeah, he is the cavalry. So he just adds this like huge layer of fun. He's not number one by any means, but thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Peggy. But no, I chose Luke Hobbs. He's my number 3. Like I said, I just think that he breathes new life into this franchise. Hobbs and Shaw, maybe less Hobbs and Shaw, but I am looking forward to the spin-off that has Momoa versus, you know, Dwayne Johnson. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I'll tell you this. If I would have seen Fast X before putting this list together, Momoa's character would have automatically taken the place of both Dom and Hobbs on this, because in one movie, he is better than damn near everybody in this entire franchise. I'm just surprised Hobbs is so high on anybody's list, period. Does anybody else have Hobbs at number 3 like this?
That's a hard pill to swallow. I would say if they only kept him to maybe like Fast 4, then I could agree with you. But after all that, all the other movies he was in, he was like negligible. It's like he was in the background.
5 was
he was
good,
just
though.
there.
5 was beautiful. 5 was the balance of.
But see, that's the thing is, as you went on in the Fast and Furious movies, it wasn't so much like the family even. It was always like, who's the new villain? That was the drawing pattern. It's like at that point, The Rock became less of a anti-hero trying to stop the guys, and once he became part of the team, it was like, It could have been anybody. You could have easily switched him out with Cena earlier, and it still would have been the same thing.
Look, in Hobbs' defense, he once kicked a torpedo out of the way of a submarine. Okay, if that doesn't scream action star.
In Hobbs' defense, he's an imaginary tiger. Which Hobbs are we talking about? I'm sorry.
What's going on, guys?
That Hobbs might be.
In Hobbs' defense, I preferred his satire from Superfast more than I am entertained by his character in the Fast franchise.
Nice.
Yeah, let's just get off of that, man. And the Furious. This is the only franchise where we have 2, which because I believe Fast and Furious needed to be represented, but not that much. Anyway, I'm going to go to my number 3. And here's the deal with my number 3. When you end your movie the same place you started and nothing really happens, I didn't really care. So Furiosa is my number 3. This also goes back to everybody like thought Mad Max Fury Road was like big, huge, great thing. And I watched it the first time and I was like, really? Was it though? Because it wasn't great. Second time I watched it though, I got it. I understood it. And Charlize Theron is a badass. It was very, very, very hard to choose between Lorraine Broughton and Furiosa for Charlize Theron's representation here. But we went Furiosa because she's only 3 by circumstance. That really is the point. She is 3 by circumstance because of the 2 people that are in front of her. And for me, again, she is badass. The one arm, the driving consistently, the going against everybody and their mama that she works for. Yes, ending the movie where she started because she knew what to do. All that was great. Again, for me, all this shit I just talked, Furiosa is one of the best action characters ever. And I think Charlize Theron is still underrated as an action star, period. And maybe that's because she also does drama, but she is so good in all of this, the Old Guard, Atomic Blonde, all of it. And Furiosa, I think, is her best. So again, only number 3 because of the people in front of her. Does anybody else have Furiosa at their number 3?
Yeah.
Sorry, Kate.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's fine.
if it wasn't for the other two on my list, she would definitely be higher. And like you said, Rue, because of the circumstances, she is my number 3. I mean, Charlize Theron, Furiosa, is a badass bitch, and she's there to save all the ladies, and that's what I love most about her, is that she's got the other ladies backed, and that's super important to me. And she can drive a fucking big ass tank truck with one arm, so kudos to her. But yeah, it just, the circumstances right now, that's where she has to fall on my list.
And Knost, you as well?
Yeah, it's lack of number of movies, so we haven't seen her as many times as the others, but it's the only real character on this list that is truly compelling, that you can understand the motivations, you can put yourself into the shoes of the individual and see an side with what is driving them, pun fully intended, throughout the course of the movie itself, whereas the others are just like, yeah, this seems a little flimsy, I'm still on board. Whereas that one this is a 3-dimensional character in the midst of all this action. And if you just want to say pure action, I think Atomic Blonde, she is more action. I mean, that's her Jason Bourne. And that character would probably even vault a little bit higher on my list. But she is phenomenal in this. And when they announced they're going to continue on with the characters, like, of course they will. That was a fantastic performance. I understand why she's not coming back since it's a prequel. But I am more than willing to go back and watch it and exist in this world to see how she ended up in that circumstance. To build up with Imogen Joe and everything else. So she is my number 3.
Well, with that, we are through all our number 3s. And based off Knost's explanation, Kate is the only one who actually likes characters and character depth in their action stars. The rest of us just want punch, kick, explosion. Because me, Matt, and Paige all had Furiosa at number 3. Ryan also had Ip Man at 3. Moose has Hobbs pretty damn high for my liking, but that's all right. And before we get to our number 1s, as we had mentioned before, we do have 6 people here. So just giving a quick rundown of where everybody lands there. Here's the deal. The only reason Ip Man is at number 5 is because I've only seen parts of it, and I was way too young to really enjoy this when it was out. I haven't gotten back to it. Hobbs is The Rock. I'd rather see The Rock be The Rock in a wrestling ring. I do like Hobbs and Shaw is one of the better Fast and Furious franchise movies. However, for me, he's nowhere near anybody else. And Donnie Yen is Donnie Yen, so there's no way I was putting him last place. That same reasoning as Paige, basically. But Kate, your 5 and 6.
Yes.
Basically the same.
My 5 was Hobbs because I don't give 2 shits about the Fast and Furious franchise. But I've at least seen those movies over the IP, IP tech. What's it called? The Ip Man. So I haven't seen that. So I just, in good faith, could not put that higher since I haven't seen that franchise. But as far as like The Rock goes, he's great in Moana, guys. Like, I just like, as far as like, for me, it never got better than Tokyo Drift. And that, listen, there goes a hot take, but for me, Tokyo Drift was it. So so those are my 5 and 6.
I'm personally a Too Fast, Too Furious man myself, with
Okay.
Paul Walker saying "cuz" every other word. But Tokyo Drift is a good one. Matt, you're on the same spot, sir.
Yeah, I've seen one Ip Man, and the Fast and the Furious films are all trash. Across the board. They're all trash. They started with a modicum of reality in the first one, and then it just devolves into nonsense the further and further we go. My favorite was it the last one with the magnets? Basically Tyrese in the trailer fucking looks at the camera and does like he's the third Insane Clown Posse. He was like, magnets! And you're like, this is how far we have fallen. And that's saying something for this franchise. They've gone to space. They've fought submarines. It's all ridiculous. It is all trash. There's no redeeming quality. And I love watching stuff blow up. So when you sent us this, and I was like, well, it's no thought. Hobbs is dead last, and everybody else is now up for discussion. So it was easy for me.
Dom was basically in the same position last episode. So yeah, sorry, Fast and Furious fans. We're gonna go over to Paige. Paige, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what everyone else said about Fast and Furious. Those films suck. I've seen like 2 or 3 of them, maybe. And I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, so that's definitely my reason why he's the last one. And I really don't care for The Rock. I like him when he does more like you guys ever seen The Tooth Fairy? Great flick. He does his comedy stuff. Great. And for is it Eggy?
Eggsy.
All right. I actually love the first Kingman's film. I think it's awesome. Taron Egerton is so hot, but especially in that film, like damn boy. But at the same time though, he's more of just like a young man, like trying to like get his grip on kind of being accepted into this like secret society, like CIA type shit. So for me, that's why he lands there, because I need like more from that character, I guess, in a sense.
All right.
But he's beautiful.
Ryan, you agree?
Yes, very much so. I don't want to kick Dwayne Johnson while he's down, because I mean he's already down after the last couple of movies. But yeah, apparently everyone's already said what they have to say about him. My problem with Eggsy is that Eggsy is pretty much ineffective compared to his counterpart, Colin Firth's Harry Hart, who has, without a doubt, the best action scenes, especially in the first one.
Yes, he does.
Yep.
The sole fact that you have to bring his character back from the dead for the second movie shows you how little Eggsy matters to the overall story. He literally, in the first movie, at the end of it, he literally did it all for the nookie. All right? I can't get behind an action star that's so frivolous. If you had put Harry there instead of Eggsy, would have been higher on the list.
But Ryan, don't you think he's hot?
Not
He
so much
agrees
in
with everything
this
I said,
iteration.
so he does.
And I say that as a man that wears glasses. All right, I admit he makes glasses look good, but I make glasses look better. All right.
Okay.
Moose, you're not kicking Dwayne down, but you're gonna keep kicking Eggsy. How you feel?
Okay, so Ryan literally verbatim explained the reasons why Eggsy is so low. I find Colin Firth's character far more fascinating. I agree 100%. I think when you think of the Kingsman franchise, you think of that church scene with, Freebird playing in the background, and that's all Harry Hart's character. And then again, for the exact same reasons that Ryan said, you had to bring Colin Firth back for the second movie. Now, I'm not going to deny Eggsy, Taron Egerton, that's a hot piece of ass right there.
Okay, thank you.
But not hot enough to be able to carry the franchise by himself. You have to have that Colin Firth. It's a whole organization, and Eggsy's still kind of the caterpillar coming out of his cocoon, even in the second one. Second one, he's got a little bit more to do, but again, you still have to bring back Harry Hart. Now, Ip Man, I saw the first Ip Man. It was fine. It was fun. It was a biography about this man. And then there was like 6 more movies. And it's like, well, wait, that guy didn't do all of this. What he did in the first movie is what he did. And then everything afterwards is just subsequent, like, oh, we like the character of this, IT guy who also is good at martial arts. And so therefore we're going to continue to give him movies.
Guy? Why is his name not IP then? Why is it IP?
I see no idea, Paige.
It's IP. It's not even IP. It's IP.
I'm going to get some letters after this.
Yeah, it's fine. I put Eggsy low, and I really enjoy the first Kingsman movie. The second one I can find redeemable qualities in, but the second one is definitely a huge step down from the first one. And The Kingsman was terrible. I did not like that movie. So. Yeah, I'm sorry to say Eggsy's down at number 6. Hey, give me another good Kingsman. And
I don't think anybody has a problem with where you put Eggsy. I think everybody has a problem with where you put Hobbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just a little bit.
Look, I can understand a lot of people being against Ip Man only because he may be like the least known out of all 6 people. But I guarantee you, if you go ahead and you check out his other films after like even the second one, they may be a little more bombastic, but no more bombastic than say some of the other franchises that we're talking about here. The fight alone with Mike Tyson, that is worth watching. Yes, there is a fight of Donnie Yen versus Mike Tyson.
That is what I'm watching as soon as this is over.
Yeah, but also like you can also watch a Mike Tyson fight on a plane. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that original. I'm just saying.
You could also watch him punch Ed Helms in Hangover 2.
In Hangover 2, exactly.
That also works.
That's good.
This is good. But we're gonna get into our number ones. But of course, as always, before we get on number ones, please like this video, share it, comment below. Visit bitesizebreakdown.com. We got a lot of good things going on over there. We just had our most recent top 5 in honor of Greta Gerwig doing half of Barbenheimer this weekend. We're doing film. We just released our top 5 films directed by actors. If you know me, you know my love for Chris Tucker and how much I think he needs to be back. I just wrote an article about why he should be getting another renaissance like Fraser and Ki-Hu Kwan just did. So go read that on Bite Size Breakdown. And in addition, one of the very first festivals that Bite Size has ever been to was Fantasia Fest. So Nick, Paige, and Q did a preview of the films at Fantasia Fest. If that happens, though, please also support the actors and the writers in this strike because producers
support
shit.
them. It is happening. My screeners.
And they don't pay a damn thing or what they should. And please just go support them in any way you can. But as we move on to our number ones, here are the numbers. And a dog under me. 4 of us kept Ethan Hunt. 1 kept John Wick. And Kate, go ahead and tell us why we're all right. Go ahead and do it.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I am not somebody that always picks the woman on the list if it's just the woman. But I will say that women are notoriously bad drivers. And she proves in this movie single-handedly that we can really drive. No, I got to tell you, there's something about a lady that shaves her head. And I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. Like V is for Vendetta. Like, I'm into it. There was just something, I just felt like she was sort of baller in a way, like in a way that that I don't know. She just has a different energy. I could totally hear why. I'm hearing your guys' arguments. I'm like, oh yeah, if I thought more about like that, we don't have the sample size for her. Yeah, I guess that's true. So I'm not even going to like defend it too much. But my gut was, I've not seen a her. I feel like some of these action stars kind of can bleed. Like, you know, you can have like your Jack Ryans, you can like your Ethan Hunt, like they all sort of have a similar vibe, but there's something so stand out about her that's why I just launched her into first place. But I mean, I can't, I'm not gonna die on that hill by any means.
Die on the hill all you want. The both of us had Wick at number 2. For me, it was really hard between Ethan Hunt and John Wick. Like John Wick is probably the best new action character to come out in a long time. But when I thought about it, Ethan has just been doing it for decades, and he was down. And he was down with a great director in John Woo. I love the dubs. Dubs are usually great. But the character just kept getting better and better. And it's not just fights. It's stunts and shootouts and car chases and Tom actually doing it himself. That is probably why he took number 1 for me over Wick. I love Wick, and I know Keanu was probably doing a lot of the things that he's doing, probably some of the most visceral action. And that's why I'm not surprised he is second place on so many people's, except Matt, who had him at number 1. I legit thought it was going to be half and half. But for me, Ethan, just the way that not only do the movies get better, does Tom put his all into it. The character continuously goes above and beyond action-wise. And the movies, it's unlike Jason Bourne. The movies, like, I can tell between the movies as well. So I can tell where the character is at in between the movies. So for me, Ethan had to be number 1 based off not only longevity, but just does a little bit more than what John does, which is a lot. But for me, that's why I have Ethan at number 1.
I do too, man, because Tom Cruise, man, can do no wrong, obviously. I mean, let's be honest. Kind of like you said, all those films get pretty much better and better every time. Besides, number 3 is still the best. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, it is.
But like when I went for my criteria, I went for action hero. This man does all of his own stunts. He fucking runs up and down the side of a building where he like holds onto a fucking plane while it's taking off, and also will like skydive from like 30,000 feet. he does these most insane things, but he's doing it for a reason, and it's to save like humanity or Earth because of these horrible people are trying to let these like poisons or these bombs out in the world. So he's actually like doing it to save someone. Why John Wick is my number 2 is, even though I think John Wick could kick Ethan Hunt's ass in a fight, like hands down, I think John Wick would win that. His action hero-ness is he's just trying to save himself, kind of like write his own freedom at the end of the day with that whole franchise. Not really save. He was an assassin. He's not saving anyone. So when I think of action hero, I'm thinking like you're doing something for a purpose, for a good cause. And he's just trying to
cause than yourself. I know I didn't have one, but come on, you gotta do it for yourself.
I completely agree. And
do it for the dog.
Yeah, the fact that this whole franchise sprouted from a man killing, like a bunch of people killing his dog, or as a cute doggy.
Nice.
Like the fact that this whole franchise was literally sprouted from that someone murdering his dog is fucking badass. Because who would have thought that would have ever happened? But yeah, at the end of the day, John Wick would definitely kick Ethan Hunt's ass. But action hero is Ethan Hunt. The technology they have. He is America's James Bond, pretty much. So that's why I got him there.
Okay. Gentlemen, feel free to go whenever you like. I know Matt has John Wick at number 1. He's the one who has to go
I'm the
ahead.
oddball out.
Yeah, I want to hear
Also,
what you
I would
think.
like to say,
surprised.
I would like to say if I didn't have Furiosa in 1, I would be where Matt is. I would have John Wick as number 1. But I want to hear why Matt would do it that way.
Well, first off, you say that all the Mission Impossibles are easily distinguishable. They're not. You could cut and paste those action scenes and splice it into the other movies and be like, yeah, it makes no difference to the overall context of what the fuck is going on. I never believed that Ethan Hunt is going to lose. Never once. You sit down and you're like, he's going to win at all times. Whereas Wick, he comes to numerous points where you're like, dear God, if certain things don't break right for him, it's over. It's over. And he manages to overcome, whereas Ethan Hunt is like, yeah, he's going to hold on to the side of a plane. And then he's going to do this. And of course he is. So it's the same thing. I have problems with like superhero films a lot of times. It's like, yeah, the villain's not going to win. And I don't buy into it at all. So the stakes just don't get raised. Whereas John Wick, it is a one-man wrecking crew that occasionally needs the help of others to step in for whether it's pride, honor, sense of duty, whatever it is, or sometimes motivation of, like in the last one, the guy that wants to up his price kind of helps Wick along so that the bounty goes up and up and up so he can get his payday to get out of this business. But the motivations make sense, whereas Ethan Hunt's got a crew with him, and it's just like he's going to overcome at all times. And all 4 of the Wicks are easily distinguishable from one another. I can tell you this scene happens in this location for these reasons, and you cannot take that out and put it into another movie. Whereas Mission Impossible is just like, I don't know, it's paint by numbers a lot of times, and it's really entertaining. The action's really good, but it's fine. It's I forget. Oh yeah, that happened in that one. You could have told me what happened in Ghost Protocol was in Rogue Nation, and I wouldn't have known the difference.
Hey, I don't agree, but Moose, Ryan, you also have Ethan at number 1 and John at number 2. Why did it break down that way for you?
Moose, you want to go?
Sure. So to Matt's point, I actually feel that way about with the cut and paste. I actually feel that way with the John Wicks. There's just so many like faceless people, henchmen that Wick just continues to shoot through. And it's like, okay, in this scene, they just have masks over their face. And in this scene, they're all just wearing red tuxedo vests. And it's like, I don't know. Like I
in another scene, it's a bulletproof suit where nobody dies.
Oh my God. Like how sturdy
like
are
Ethan
they?
doesn't go up against the henchmen from the bad guys in the other films. As if, he's somehow just taking on individual characters over and over. It's not. He's taking on bunch of faceless people and going after one dude each fucking film.
Hey, but I'm high on John Wick. Don't get me wrong. The dude has 47 spoken words in every movie, and 14 of those words is yeah. And somehow they created this awesome, like totally interesting character in John Wick.
Yes.
The guy says nothing. He has no dialogue, but yet he's intriguing to watch. And so, yeah, I'm high on John Wick. And yeah, it's all about the puppy revenge. Okay. As a 40-year-old man without children and an English bulldog, if somebody were to hurt Darby, I'm fucking going John Wick. So I totally understand Wick's motivation with the dog, but Ethan Hunt is one step ahead. Like, there's not just like the physicality and like the stunts that he does to it. There's the intelligence that goes into like Ethan Hunt and his team. And I find that fascinating. I took some screenshots this morning. Here's him running from a sandstorm. Like, the stuff that he does. Here's him running on the Kremlin. Like, there's Tom Cruise jumping.
Once again, which movies are those from?
Yeah.
Because you could fucking tell me they all in one movie, or that's three separate movies. That's the
Earlier
thing.
this year, I went into Burj Khalifa, and it took liquid courage for me to go out on the observation balcony. This son of a bitch like ran on it and then jumped off of it. Like the commitment that they do to like this, and the excitement that comes with like, what stunt is he going to do next? What stunt's he going to do next? Like, I find the Mission Impossible movies, and I'm a sucker for a good like detective movie, and there's always a little bit of that and working the problem that goes into like these Mission Impossible movies, and that's why I gave the edge to Ethan Hunt. Plus, it's very rare that like movies that continue to go like 4, 5, 6, 7 continue to keep like a high level of entertainment value to them, and the Mission Impossibles do, and I think that goes in large part to Ethan Hunt. So he's going to be my number 1. Wick's my number 2. And it's not by much, but it's just I find Ethan Hunt much more fascinating.
I will say that first one was from Ghost Protocol. The second one I missed, but the third one was from Fallout, just because I know better. But Ryan, you also have Ethan at number 1, John at number 2. Give us your final thoughts on that, and just in the list in general.
When I had to choose between the two, because it was always going to come down to those two, I mean, they both had great stunt work in the movies. They both had great action fighting scenes, whether it be John Wick or Ethan. They both were able to measure up to whoever they were going against. For me, it came down to character mentality. Kind of harking back to what Paige was talking about how John Wick is pretty much more of just a survivalist in a sense. You know, he's pretty much more trying to run away from all the danger. And when it comes to him, fine, he'll take it out, sure. But he's not really trying to engage anything for any better good or because of some moral righteousness. He's just pretty much making sure he stays alive, which how he has stayed alive up to this point, no idea. Hunt, on the other hand, we are talking about a character who chooses these battles, these globe-trotting, world destruction type battles, should he choose to accept them. IMF always has the option to go ahead and say, no, we don't want to do that. We're not trying to be a part of any of this too much. But Ethan has that caring, compassion, sort almost heroic type of mentality where he's like, he knows if he doesn't take on the mission, no one else will and no one else can succeed. That mentality alone already puts him far and above most of the people that were chosen on this list, just because not only does he have the physicality to do the action hero job, but he has the sentimentality to do the action hero job as well.
Cool.
Ryan,
Matt,
you make a compelling argument.
You do. Matt, you had Ethan at number 2. So any of the last thoughts on Ethan, on John at your number 1 in the list in general?
Have you guys ever heard Matt Damon's story about the Burj Khalifa stunt with Tom Cruise?
No.
Okay.
No.
So he's at some dinner and him and Tom are there and they're sitting down and he had seen the movie and he told Tom, he's like, that was incredible. You know, what was the thought process? What were you doing with that? And he's like, man, Tom said, I've been planning this for years. So we're finally going to go do it, going to shoot it. We've planned it all out. And we go to the safety guy and the safety guy's like, we'll never get insured for this. We can't do this. This stunt is never going to happen. And Damon's like, well, what'd you do? And Tom's like, well, we fired the safety guy and we just hired another safety guy. And then we did the stunt. You're like, God bless Tom Cruise. That's a fucking, there you go. That guy's got determination, for Christ's sake.
He's gonna die doing what he loves. Nothing else.
Yes, we're just putting himself into ridiculous peril for the sake of a shot. God bless him. Ryan makes a great argument. Although I would like to see the one time
let him
where
never be
like,
said that Tom Cruise
choose to accept this mission. He's like, I'm good. We're good. We're good.
I guarantee you that's how the franchise finishes. Is he's
I
being offered a final
completely
mission?
agree.
Yeah,
and he
imagine the
goes,
one
no.
who did that bypass. Like,
Should you choose to accept it? I do not.
Yeah.
I
Blackout.
don't end Dead Reckoning 2. I don't know how you finished it.
And it just blows up.
That way. Just everybody goes in 5 minutes and then we're out. Paige, you had John Wick at number 2. So any final thoughts on that and the list as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, personally, for me as a whole, like I think no matter what, in the end, I was always going to have Ethan Hunt because of one, Tom Cruise is probably like the greatest action hero that we have, like this generation. At least I feel. The fact that he does his own stunts, he's a smart, intelligent character too, in a sense, and he does it for the right cause. And he's always like looking out for others. So like that's why I'm like down for it. Is this man laughing at me? No, I'm just kidding.
No, sorry. The comment where it says when the mission becomes possible, I just imagine somebody's like, "Hey Ethan, can you go get me a coffee?" And he's like, "I'm out."
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, he probably can't do the simple things in life, but he can kick ass. But yeah, for Wickman, I mean,
This cappuccino will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
That man, like I said, could probably kick Ethan Hunt's ass, like no problemo. But for me, it comes down to the theme of this action hero, and Ethan Hunt saves like humanity. God knows how many times. How many movies are there now? 7. He
7.
saved humanity 7 times. Ethan Hunt. I mean, John Wick saves his ass 4 times. So when he starts doing it for someone else besides him and his dog.
But don't you think there's something wrong with the world then if we need Ethan Hunt to continuously save us 7 fucking times? Like maybe he's not the answer and it's a systemic problem.
He's not the problem though.
Just saying. Maybe we can start higher up and deal with the problem as opposed to letting it boil down to Ethan consistently.
What I do appreciate though is that Dead Reckoning had the foresights to do AI because apparently nobody watches movies in real life. And y'all need to stop fucking with AI. But anyway, Kate, you also had John at number 2.
Yes.
But with Furiosa at number 1. Give your final thoughts on all that and the
yeah.
list in general.
I think my final thoughts are, so John Wick to me, if I could change this list, I would actually just move John Wick up to number 1. I'm not gonna, because for me, I put somebody who just stands out as a singular character, and that is Furiosa for me. I don't feel like she's comparable to anybody else on this list. Now, you maybe could have given me some other people she'd be comparable to, and she might not have been up so high, but that was where I put her there. What I'll say about the Tom Cruise thing, I had Ethan Hunt as number 3, and everybody thought that was pretty crazy, and I understand that, but I also feel like there is this thing where like we think character actors are insane. Like Daniel Day-Lewis is amazing, but he lived as Lincoln for 6 months. Like that's insane. Like, Jeremy Strong is getting bagged over the fact that he like is into method acting. We have no problem with Tom Cruise doing his own stunts when A, it steals a job from an actual stuntman, and B, it's legitimately crazy, and C, it requires these movies to be insured beyond, like, I think it's awesome that he can do it. It does not make his character go up in merit because I saw him do his own stunt. It makes his craziness go up for me. I'm like, that motherfucker is crazier than the rest of these actors on this list. So for me, I
no one ever
defend.
complained when Jackie Chan did his own.
But Jackie Chan was true. He was a martial artist. This is a psychopath who is like firing people. Like this is not what he was trained to do. This is like ego and like an adrenaline junkie that we're like, all right, and so for me, he's comfortably at number 3. It's just not my, like, for me, I'm just sort of like, I don't care how the sausage is made. If I have to watch the movie and think about the actor doing the stunts, now I'm not watching the movie. So for me, John Wick still is above Ethan Hunt, whether or not I put it at 2 and 3 or 1 and 2, because I feel like History of Violence is one of my favorite movies. I feel like John Wick has shades of that like, I'm out of this life. Can I tell you, I used to be a runner. If I had to go back to running right now, do you know how bad I'd be at it? Do you know what I'm saying? This guy was a killer. He goes back to it. He's right back into it. I think it's like we all can relate to, like, it's the straw that broke the, like, my wife died. You killed my dog. Like, now I'm gonna murder them all. Like, there's something so relatable about that character. So I got emphatic. That's my end. That's I yield my time.
I love it. I love it. All right, so we're getting towards the end of the show. I do have one more question for all of you, and I will give you a little bit of time to think about it. I like posing this question, especially in these tournament ones. In the 2010s, if there was a character from the action hero from the 2010s, or at least had a movie in the 2010s that was not on this list, what character from the 2010s who had a movie in the 2010s, what action hero would shake up your list? Not necessarily number one, not necessarily at the bottom, but if they were on this list, would give you pause, would make you like, ooh, that would be something different. So while you all are thinking of that, I'm going to go to some people in the chat. Jeremy Miller had Wick at number 1, also had Ethan at number 3 with you there, Kate. So you are not alone with Furiosa at number 2. I'm hoping that this looks like what this says. So I'm going to say Narcolepsy 27. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. But has Wick at number 1, also Hunt at number 3. You are definitely not alone with Fury at number 2. My boy Easy, he's been here every week. Thank you. Has Ethan at 1, Wicked 2, and Hobbs at 3. He liked how he broke out of the cast. That's how that was. So that's for some of the people in the chat. For us, quick recap on how we've turned out. Where for our number ones, me, Paige, Ryan, and Moose have Ethan at number 1. Kate had Furiosa, while Matt had John. While everybody else had John Wick at number 2, with Matt having Ethan Hunt at number 2. And then me, Matt, and Paige had Furiosa at number 3. Kate had Ethan. Ryan had It Man and Hobbs. And then rounding out with number 4, 3 of us had Eggsy. One of us, Paige, had It Man. And then Furiosa from Ryan and Moose. So with that, for me, and don't mind if you have the same character, it is all good. For me, I have a couple of characters I thought of, but one was from a franchise that doesn't have as many entries, but when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh. So the one character from the 2010s that would give me pause and make me think about my list is Rama from The Raid and The Raid Redemption. And actually, if it wasn't the fact that it was action heroes, at first it was just going to be action characters and villains. I think Mad Dog from Raid 1, the 1-on-2 fight between him, Rama, and Rama's brother, I think is the best fight scene I've ever seen in my life. It is so damn good. But Rama going from floor to floor to floor to floor, just mowing through people and then getting his ass kicked by Mad Dog, but still finding a way to win. And then having the kitchen scene in Raid 2, I feel like Iko Uwais is an amazing stuntman, fighter, actor. That is why you put him in the John Wick franchise. And that is why when John Wick went up against him and Yayan Ruhan, who plays Mad Dog in, I think, Chapter 3, he didn't kill them. Because you don't let Keanu Reeves kill those two dudes. You just let them fight and then end it with respect, because that's how good they are. So for me, it's Rama. Paige, what about you?
I actually just a random ass one just popped in my head, but Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games.
Nice.
Right? That would have been a good one.
That would have been a good one.
Okay.
Or Emily Blunt from Edge of Tomorrow, because she outshines Tom Cruise in that movie, because she's the badass in that movie, not Cruise.
Granted.
Kate, what about you?
I mean, you're asking me to know when movies were made and to know movies,
fine.
which are two things that I just fucking can't do. I'll tell you what. Let's go with Dave Franco's character Lloyd from the Lego Ninjago movie. Let's go.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. It's perfect. Perfect. Great answer. Ryan, what about you?
I mean, aside from the ones that were probably mentioned, like, swapping out Harry for the Kingsman movies, and Matt mentioned Atomic Blonde being the better Charlize Theron movie. One franchise that was omitted, and that wasn't like a superhero one, was the Fallen franchise and Gerard Butler's Mike Banning.
Oh yeah.
I would definitely have given him a good amount of credit, considering it's a one-man army against like these insurmountable odds, pretty much up there with a lot of the other mentions that we had. Whether or not I would put him over Itma or Ethan Hunt, no, but definitely more so than Eggsy and Hobbs.
All right. Moose, what about you?
I definitely would throw Atomic Blonde in there. I think the action sequences in that are amazing. But one movie that just kind of rattled into my head was The Accountant, Ben Affleck. That character was it was a super interesting character, and the dude could kick a ton of ass, and kind of left it open. I mean, it's not really gone anywhere as like a franchise or anything, but at the time I remember thinking that the movie was very action packed and entertaining. So I'll toss that into the ring.
And Matt, what about you?
Some excellent suggestions thus far. I would agree with Atomic Blonde and Edge of Tomorrow, and guys, James Bond. We had two of the greatest James Bonds came out in the 2010s in Skyfall and Casino Royale, and those. I mean, he is flat out amazing in those.
We're talking about Judi Dench. No, sorry. Okay,
No,
never
no,
mind.
no.
You're not.
Sorry.
We are not.
Sorry.
No.
One thing I will say, I've mentioned it before, if James Bond was in the Geek tournament last year, so any of the characters who were in the tournament last year were not eligible for this one, but yet and still, very good choice. Very good choice.
Yeah, sure, setting us up to fail, Rue.
Someone said the Equalizer. That's a good one.
Robert McCall from The Equalizer
That's
was
a
one of
good
the
one.
very last cuts, not making it in. And lastly, also Rita Vertansky, the Full Metal Bitch. That is the name of Emily Blunt's character in Edge of Tomorrow. She was also a very, very close cut. So as it is a tournament, I also do need to present who will be moving forward here. We know who the top two is, and if you looked at it, the second places were pretty high. So actually figure it out. I'm a math teacher. We did some math. If any of the characters has a third place vote, you get 1 point. If you get a second place vote, you get 3 points, and a first place vote gets you 5 points. So with that, Ip Man did get a 1 point for his third place. So that is there for him. And then we got Hobbs also got one.
Wow, Moose.
Ooh.
Wow,
Little 1 point.
Looking at you, Moose.
Moose, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Eggsy got no love. He got no love whatsoever. Sorry, Eggsy. Just kind of how it went for you. Furiosa got a good solid 8 with the first place, the 5 points there and the 3 third places.
I
so
tried,
not bad.
Charlize. I tried.
Ethan Hunt got a good solid 24 points. 24 points, putting him up there. So between him and John, let's see if all those that first place and that those second place gave him the edge. For those of you who do math, you knew how it works. But in the end, barely pulling it out as the winner for this round. It is. So after this 2010s bracket, the winner moving forward to face the Bride, Dutch, and Sarah Connor, it is one Ethan Hunt. So we have 4 of our 6 finalists for this one action hero tournament. And before we get out of here, just want to thank everybody for coming on. Kate, please let people know where they can find you and what you got going on anyway.
My home address is there's no place to find me. You can find me on a picket line outside of Warner Brothers, honey.
Yes, please
Thank
support the writers and the actors. Ryan, great to have you back, sir. Let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on with yourself.
You can find me all in all the prominent social media. That means everything but Twitter at Real Ordeal. That's REEL Ordeal. And of course, you can also find me doing my work for Stream Punk Entertainment and co-hosting Tales from the Film Set, which actually comes on right after this at 8:30, where we will be talking the Strike.
All right. Mark Moose Haas, let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on in your life.
Every Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for your movie trivia needs. You can tune into Benny and Moose Save America. We've had Matt on the show. We've had Paige on the show. We've had Mr. Amaru Moses on the show. I think, Rue, your episode will numerous times. I think next week actually is your Ocean's 11 match.
Maybe I'll win because I haven't won yet, but we'll see.
So yeah, tune in. We do a lot of fun. We do it barroom trivia style. So we have like a bartender that comes in and gives you hints every once in a while. So please tune in. It's a lot of fun.
And Matt, let the people know where they can find you. Please tell them about your amazing show, please.
You can find me at Matt Knost, and good luck spelling it because I'm not going to help you. And my show is Settle the Score. Just anywhere you want to get podcasts or on YouTube, just Settle the Score, and it's movie, music, trivia. So that's the basic gist of it.
It's a really fun time, a very, very fun time. So usually there's a riddle to end the episodes. I'm going to disappoint some people because we know who is in the finals, because before we get in there, we have a second chance episode. And that's all the second place people who fell in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s. So I'm just going to release that real quick, show you who's coming up. And so first, he was right there.
Yes.
For the 2010s.
Fair.
Mr. John Wick is coming back for a second chance to see if he can make it to the finals. From the 2000s, Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne lost out to The Bride, so he will be representing the 2000s as a way to get back in. From the 90s, makes me so damn happy when Rick O'Connell from The Mummy, because the man is underrated and he got a whole bunch of second places. I love it.
I thought that was Michael Jackson from the Thriller video. I was legit.
That is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And very surprisingly to me, losing out to Dutch from the 1980s, it's one John McClane. John McClane gets a second chance to get back. And the last two will be determined very soon. We're going to take some of the suggestions from this episode and the other episodes with people that never got even a chance to give the final two shots for the second chance bracket. And two of these characters will be joining the four winners from each decade. But for Paige, for Kate, for Ryan, Moose, and Matt, thank you all for watching tonight. We are out of here.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.